This is A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 30th of November, 2021, and my name's Patrick Smith. What a difference a week makes from 4 points to 0 as the Giants suffered defeat to the Devils and the Stars. On this week's show, we'll have a post-mortem on what was a terrible weekend for the Giants. We'll hear from Jeff Baum and Adam Keefe as Simon popped down to training. Mark Cooper is here to join us as the guest on the fan agenda. We have a few pieces of EIHL news, including a suspension in Sheffield on anti-doping grounds. And it's a weekend on the road for the Giants, travelling to Scotland for Fife and their first trip of the season against Glasgow. Before I introduce mates, I'm going to say, cards on the table. I'm not feeling the best, so you're going to have to carry me through this. I had my third, was it Pfizer, the booster? I had it yesterday afternoon, and I tell you, I'm feeling rough. But go get your vaccine. So if people are listening and saying, "Oh, I'm an anti-vaxxer," why is the BAP? Go get your vaccines, get sorted out, and we'll get out of all of this. But yes, not feeling the best today, lads. So we'll get through it. Davey, how are you doing?
Make it a short one then.
You must be a brave bit older than me, because I can't get mine booked in until the new year. So
I'm feeling
right,
40.
Mate.
But I had my second one back in February, so I was easy to get it. So
I've got it. I think I've got to wait.
Must have some.
I've got to wait for another 3 weeks apparently after testing positive. So
apparently so.
Yeah, I'm with you, Paddy. If I could have it my arm and it would already be in there because it's free. It. So, and I'm the swag man, so if I can get something for nothing, I'll
absolutely
have it. Give me 2 boosters.
And Mr. Kitchen, you were flying solo for a bit on Sunday. How you doing?
It's tough, mate. It really is tough.
Especially when you're getting grief on WhatsApp from the two of us.
Well, you used to or Jeff. There was some guy on from. I'm assuming he's a Dundee fan, and he was calling me. He said he put it on Twitter. He didn't tag me or anything, but he says that Belfast Giants commentators are clown. I'd take that all day long. I mean, just being Belfast Giants fan on a Belfast Giants pod or webcast or podcast, talking about the Belfast Giants.
What do you want?
I always love it. Apparently, it was giving Haas a tough time. He deserves everything he got. And in fairness, I actually thought he was decent on Sunday, but he's still a clampet. Like
I saw the lads on Devils TV get a bit of grief as well about they're so biased. So it's Devils TV. They could be biased if they want. That's the way 100%. It works. Are people going to fit and write in about A View from the Bridge said those lads are so biased?
I think there was somebody having to go at me for trying to promote AVFTB a couple of times as well.
Nice. What do you want?
Talk about the best. That's the best podcast in the league, man. I know there's other ones available, but not anywhere near us.
Absolutely.
Joel A View from the whatever you call it, the Dundee one,
Section C.
I thought that was a wee bit rough. Like says,
I couldn't remember what you called it. I knew it was a view from Section. I couldn't remember what you call it. I didn't mean to be rude.
I actually cut a wee bit of that show and sent it to the friend of the show, Dandy Alden, and they absolutely weathered him. They said that Toby's the best ref. Toby's the best ref in Dundee, but he's not the best ref in the league. And we have a lot of time for Toby, but like Dalt says, he's probably not going to sleep after the absolute withering they give him. But
they did give him a few digs, didn't they? They didn't.
Part of the furniture, the refs, you gotta play around them, play with them.
Right, gentlemen, let's get stuck into what was a very difficult week for your Belfast Giants, and we'll start off with the game that took place at Ice Arena, Wales on Saturday against the Cardiff Devils. It was a 4-2 win for the Cardiff Devils. Brodie Reid, Brant McNally with 2, and Trevor Cox with the scores. 3 of them on the power play, and 1 in the empty net for the Cardiff Devils on home side. And for us, JJ Pikelic on the power play, and then JJ Pikelic again in 5-on-5. Regards to goalies, Matt Carruth, 47 shots on, 2 goals against. Tyler Beskorowany, 22 shots on, 3 goals against. And your refs were Tom Perring and Matt Thompson. Davey, you were there. It was a valiant performance and let down by 3 power play goals.
It's a funny one. I remember talking to you on the podcast after the first Cardiff game, whatever that was, September time, wasn't it? And saying that it came out of the game, and although we'd been beaten, it wasn't too despondent because we'd actually played really well. And I guess this past Saturday as well, we played really well. We carried the horses the whole game. If we'd have won that game, I don't think Cardiff would have been in any way, complaining about the result. Bit of the masters of our own doing. I know you're running the goals through there. We actually took the lead. I know you've given the shots count there. We've held the Cardiff Devils at home to 16 shots on goal. I know the count in the stadium was 22 official but the instat from the video was a wee bit less than that, and we have had 44. We've had the best of the chances in the game. Carruth again, man of the match. And I don't know, Paddy, if you've got the still that I sent you, or whether you can even show that. It's just going through the goal there anyway. But it was to show you where we got our goals from at the weekend and what we didn't do often enough. And it was that Cooper again that we talked about last weekend, backing in the Carruth's crease, to allow Pickenics to come down and just rifle it over his head. Great CNI goal. And unfortunately for us then, straight from that face-off, we go down into our own zone, and Rupert gets caught he flicks the puck out of play, and they get the penalty. And they get the power play, sorry. And they're able to convert with another really, really good finish. I don't hold Besco responsible for that at all. He's nice and tight to his post, and it's rifled right into the top of the net over the shoulders. Nothing a goalie can do there. And the other two goals, really, Gary gets caught in a stick battle with, is it McNally scores the goal? McNally's just strong. He just has the puck grounded, and that's a hard play. Simon, you'll know yourself, to even do a stick lift when somebody's got their full body weight down in the stick. That's a hard, to lift that stick without getting a hook or a penalty, So we'll lose that little battle, and we'll come back into the game with the 2 each. Again through Pickenics, and again through really hard. We have this real ozone pressure where we're hard in the forecheck. We're allowed to get D-men changed up, and we're getting into the plays, and we got it back to 2 each. And then unfortunately we come up, and it's that little bit of puck luck. They come down the centre, and Rayner steps up nice and big, takes a slap shot. I think he takes it to the hand because he played no further part in the game that night. He was off shaking it, so I assume that's what happened there. And the puck just flips up in the air, and it just lands in the lane of the it might be McNally again, actually, crashing the net, and Besco's dead because you just can't cover that whenever you've already gone. He's going to make the save from Rain. It's flipped up in the air, and 3-2. It's a 1-goal game. I'm not going to say anything about empty net goals because for us against us, you never really count them one way or the other. Even okay, the down stats. Yes, here's the still, Paddy.
There's that still,
only works for people on watching it on YouTube. But you see there, just as Pickenics releases the puck, Carruth can't see it. We have to, and the coach keepers talked about it. The players have talked about it when they came on. We need to get traffic in front to score goals against goaltenders of the ability of Carruth. And if we go on to Sunday's game, Morrison is a great goaltender. We fired 100, we'll come on to it, 100 shots at the Dundee net on Sunday. And 50 plus of them has nobody in front of me. It's just these pucking cherries. So I think Rayner talked about it in his little interview with Joel afterwards. It's got to start being quality over quantity, because 181 shots fired at 2 goaltenders over the weekend, and we had 4 goals. And that, unfortunately, isn't going to win games in this league. If you go away to the Cardiff Devils, you're probably going to have to score more than 2 goals. All that being said, we limited them to 16 shots on goal. So defensively, we're excellent on Saturday night. Really excellent. Sorry, Simon, I know I'm rambling a bit here. I have to bring you in for your comments on it. But I was a bit despondent on Saturday night leaving Cardiff because we had played so well twice now, and we haven't turned that into any points at all. So that's disappointing.
Simon, do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick up on something Davey said more or less towards the end of his comments there, and about you're not going to win many games by scoring only 2 goals in games, not just against the Cardiff Devils. So, in this league, you need to be scoring more than 2 goals. And right now, we're getting a bucket load of shots, but the shots that we're getting are, as you say, they're making. We make every goalie in this league look like the best goalie in the world. We genuinely do. I mean, we're going to talk about Dundee, but 44 shots against Carruth. I have no idea how many he got with with men in front of him. I don't know, Davey. And it's frustrating because, again, for all the incidents and everything that went against us on Saturday, to come out with no points after a really, really good performance, not giving up any odd man rushes, controlling much of the game. double, shooting more than double what the Cardiff Devils shot, more or less triple what the Cardiff Devils shot on target, and coming out with nothing again after 2 games in Cardiff now is frustrating for sure. I don't know if everybody knows, but the whole Saturday was just a debacle. The boys were sitting in Aldergrove Airport for nearly 8 hours. It was all your pre-game meal. You're obviously up the left. The Cardiff Devils basically, they delayed it slightly, but not a hell of a lot. They had us on the clock as soon as we arrived in the arena. Everything was going against us, and to come out and put a performance like that in against the Cardiff Devils, who had been sleeping in their own bed and doing everything to get everything ready for their own game. To be honest, I don't think Adam can be disappointed apart from the result. I thought we deserved more out of the game than what actually happened. I mean, Pick just scored 2 crackers, 2 really good goals. His first one is a laser to the top corner. The second one, again, just working down low hard with a little touch in from Conway, and he drives the front line and gets rewarded. So, the goals we give up against 3 power play goals, we need to stop taking stupid penalties, lazy penalties. That's how it happened with the first one. I think it was the second one as well. Against the Cardiff Devils, the best power play in the league, was again something that is frustrating, because you want to win your special teams. You want to win when you're getting the extra man. You want to win when you're down as well. So disappointing to come away with that game with nothing. But again, the weekend travel just turned out for us to be a bit of a shambles. So the whole weekend, I don't know if you want me to go on and start talking about the Dundee game, Paddy.
Not yet, mate. We're gonna stick with the Cardiff game for now. But what I just want to say quickly is, Davy, coming back to you with regards to the power play goals and the penalties that were taken. Simon says 3 lazy penalties. One was delayed.
At least 2 lazy penalties.
Yeah, delayed game, a boarding call, and what was the third one? Was it a hold?
I think it was a hold.
Was it a hold? But all 3 of those are punished.
Cardiff, and this is a difficult one to critique, because I'm not a hockey coach and I'm not in charge of power plays or anything, but there is a difference visually between the Cardiff Devils power play and ours. And at times our power play has been okay. Early season in the Challenge Cup, first 2 or 3 games,
it was great.
Our power play was really, but it was all coming from the same line. It was coming from Pick, it was coming from Conway, it was coming from Goodwin. So to be fair, those 3 have been the main go-to guys on the power play. It's became a little, and as I say, this is very difficult, but please hope Adam Keefe doesn't listen to this, because I'm not critiquing him. But it's just visually, it's more static than Cardiff's. Cardiff's was bang, 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 and 3 times they just didn't give us a chance. They actually had that set play that they scored against us, and they tried it twice and almost scored twice on Saturday night. That one-timer off the face-off, so draw back from the face-off one-timer, and they've whistled one just over the bar twice from that set play. They're just going to the net every time, and they're going to the net hard. As I say, McNally's one where he scores, he's just standing in the blue paint with the stick in the ice. And we got success last weekend doing that. Did we 3 power play goals last weekend in the game on the Sunday?
Yes, I think so.
Yep.
Probably Dundee. We play them every week.
Manchester
Storm, that's right. But we found the difference between, I thought that Cardiff especially made it difficult for us. We had to shoot from the outside a lot. They boxed out in front of Carruth very well. 4 men dropped in. They played like 1 forward high, 2 forward deep, and 2 D men. They played that lovely, really type of even 5-on-5. Like, I thought we were excellent 5-on-5. We're by far the better team 5-on-5. And sometimes in hockey, you don't get, sometimes in sports, sometimes in life, you don't get what you deserve. And I thought on Saturday night, we actually, did we deserve a point? Did we deserve to take it to overtime? No, I think we deserved all the points, all the spoils on Saturday night, but it doesn't always work out that way for you. And sometimes it's not even tipping your cap to Cardiff. They defended well. They schooled very well in their own defensive zone, and they almost set up like, we know what Belfast are going to bring here. They're going to bring the same game plan that they brought the last time, and we're going to try and nullify it by just being super defensive and trying to score on the special teams or score on a breakaway. Didn't get very many breakaways, so they had to capitalize when they got their special teams, and they were able just to get those goals. And we're traditionally really, really good on the penalty kill. And just for some reason on the weekend, it was 4 or 5 goals we gave up. And you can't legislate for that happening.
It's funny you say, because I think I put it on WhatsApp during the game against Cardiff. It felt as if Scully had done his homework. It looked like the same sort of play that we faced in Manchester when we went to play the Storm in Manchester. They were closing tight around the goals, and anything that was in the neutral zone, they were just breaking up and breaking up and breaking up. And it's just like spoiling in there and then catching the break. And 3 power play goals, that's what you're supposed to do in the power play. You're supposed to take that advantage. But 5-on-5 as regards to their attack, like you say, we reduced them to 16 shots, and we were going and going, and all they could do was come tight in around, keep the space around Carruth's goal tight and covered, and then break us up at every opportunity, which worked for them, says.
Of course it did. And again, look, the Cardiff Devils are good. Let's not make any mistake about this. They have a lot of experience in that locker room, and that's probably something that maybe we're lacking this year, to be honest. And we've had a couple of games this year where you really should be controlling and not letting other teams get back into them. And that comes again. We're a young group. I think we're the youngest team we've ever had. Is that right, Davy?
That's correct. Yeah.
We're the youngest team we've ever had, and there's a couple of young guys in there. And I mean, there's other guys who have got the experience. And when you see where we are right now and not really getting rewarded for good performances, and then you're going to play worse than that and get the win. But look, I was reading some of the comments on social media over the weekend. I mean, Paddy, you posted somebody in the forums asking for Adam Keefe to be sacked. We ever saying that? Absolutely great.
Yeah,
that's just ridiculous. Like, they're full of kick. And for me, as I say, the games that we have, we have played good teams this year. And, the league itself is getting better. There's no doubt about that. But there's games that, I mean, again, we're going to go on to talk about Sunday, and I've got probably a lot more to say about Sunday than what I do about Saturday, because I can't really complain about the performance on Saturday. I thought we did really well. And just, as Davey said, we just didn't get rewarded. And, for the whole aspect of Adam doesn't make excuses. He's straight hitting. He says it the way it is. And I asked him this morning, and we'll listen to the interview later on. He thought the boys played really well on Saturday. So where we are, losing the 4 points this weekend was really disappointing. Losing the game on Sunday was really disappointing because we haven't lost. That's the first game we've lost this season at home. And, we've talked about before about the SSA Arena. We need to make it a fortress again. You need to be beating teams like the Dundee Stars at home. Yeah. That's the bottom line. When you can sleep in your own bed and you can get up the next morning and go and play a game, you feel a lot better than what you do with, staying in a hotel. Don't care what hotel it is. I know the Premier Inns have got great beds and you get a good sleep in them. There are other hotels available. But
we are looking at a sponsor for a view from the bridge. If the Premier Inns want to come in, that would be fantastic.
I know a manager, and we'll see what I can do. But, for the whole aspect of the Saturday game, and just to finish off, we played really well. Disappointed not to get anything out of it. If it had went to overtime, we had got a point out of it. Again, you probably would have took a point. But I do think we'll play worse this year and we'll get a result. But Saturday just wasn't that day.
It's like 11 shots. We gave up 5-on-5 through 60 minutes. All right, take away 8 minutes that they were in the power. They weren't even on the power play for 8 minutes. Obviously, scored 3 goals. But to hold the Cardiff Devils, the 11 shots at home, I'd be surprised if that's not almost a record, in terms of teams going to Cardiff and putting on a defensive school. Like we took them to school on Saturday. And Simon saying about, the guys were in the airport from 7 o'clock to, I think it was about 4 o'clock before they got taken off, a whole day in the airport. And they still put that performance on. And then they probably weren't getting back to Bristol it's going to be gone 1 a.m. probably, around 1 in the morning. That's a long day. You're 6 hours short of being up for 24.
Up at 20 to 7 Sunday morning as well. Tough weekend.
But like, as Kiefer said in his interview as well, Dundee had a 3-hour bus ride. Coach, they had an early start, though they got sleeping in their own beds probably the night before. I think they were at home on the Saturday night. We can't it's a no excuse organization. And coming off the disappointment for this weekend, despite losing in Cardiff and that being disappointing to an extent, you're playing one of the very top teams. You have to turn those disappointments and those defeats. That's what's got to drive you on the Sunday afternoon. Boys, we're not going out of here without 2 points tonight. And I just don't felt we get the reaction that we probably needed after Saturday's defeat.
Let's move on. The highlights from the game on Saturday are available from
let's talk about one thing quickly.
Oh, you want to talk about the
Giants? The Giants went in the power play. I think what do you call it? Big lanky. We talked about him the other day. Simon, big lanky guy, Mickelson, fires the puck from his own defensive zone and it hits the banners, which is about level with the goal line of where Besco is. It's going out of play. It's delay a game. Giants go on to 5-on-3. Now, granted, was scored shortly after to make it 2 each, but that's a big call. Now, I spoke to one of the refs in the league about it. He said personally he would have called it, but he can understand why if it hits something that isn't part of the, if it goes over the glass, it's clearly gone over the glass, but that's still within the sort of the perimeter of the ice surface. It's okay for the ref to call it down. He says personally he would have called it and he thinks it was a penalty. And Adam Keefe certainly thought it a penalty. I don't know if you're talking to him at practice or whatever since Simon, but little things like that, the puck luck that you need sometimes. You get a goal in the 5-on-3 power play, perhaps. I know we haven't been brilliant at it. Was scored on Sunday on the 5-on-3, but you get that goal. Suddenly it's 2 each and you still have perhaps a little bit of power play time. And you just don't know how those little tiny things change a game. So disappointing. But when I was reading up about the delay of game rules, Simon, will come on the Sunday. A goaltender is not allowed time to fix his equipment.
Yeah.
On the
he should be off the ice and changed up.
Morrison.
Every game.
Especially when they're on the penalty kill.
No, every game.
Yeah, but during the game, you'll find a little period during a penalty kill when they've maybe been under the pump and they're quite short bench or whatever. So anyway.
Let's just quickly move on that then. I said the highlights from the game and Devils TV. You can get them on YouTube, and we'll go on to the game against the Dundee Stars that took place at the SSE Arena on Sunday, a 3-2 win for the Dundee Stars. The Giants goals come from Kieran Long and Jordan Boucher on the power play. The Dundee Stars goals come from Charlie Coombs on the power play, Connor Sills on the power play, and Dryden Dow on 54 minutes and 2 seconds. And goals, Adam Morrison, 51 shots against, 2 goals against. Jackson Whistle, 23 shots against, 3 goals against. Stephen Hogarth and Andy Dalton were the 2 referees. Says it was toothless.
Yeah, there's no other way of looking at it, Paddy. It was a very disappointing performance. I mean, let's be honest. We could have been 3-4, maybe even 5-0 down at the end of the first period, and I don't think we could have complained about it. The Dundee Stars were really good in the first period. That kid, Charlie Coombs, is outstanding. He's very, very small in stature, but I am really, really impressed with him. He gets stuck in. He's a really smart player. He leads them from the back end on the power play. He scored a really good goal to get the Dundee Stars off and running. But Jackson Whistle pulled off 2 unreal saves in the first period. He pulled off one of those saves was he was scrambling. Don't get me wrong, but he's a scrambling goalie. You know what I mean? If he makes the first save, he doesn't need to make a second one. But the way the first one came in, it ricocheted out right in front of the net, and he got across to save it again. And when I was doing the commentating, I was actually stuck for words because I wasn't sure if it was actually him or a defenseman that actually got in front of it. And then I had to watch the replay to pick up the correct details on it. And when we play against the Dundee Stars, we'll play them 6 times around this season. They have a certain way of playing. They lock you down. They when they go on the break. And they did that quite a few times. We talk about the Saturday game against the Cardiff Devils. We did not give up an odd man rush. I don't know how many odd man rushes we give up in total on Saturday, but it was Sunday. It was at least 6 or 7, Davy, was it?
Yep.
And 2 or 3 of them were in the first period. They had a breakaway. We had a 2-on-1 just after that. Connor Sills was unlucky. Jackson put off a really good save. We were poor. There's no other way of looking at it. We were poor on Sunday. I know Adam was really disappointed after the game. And I know the boys were really disappointed. You can tell when they're coming out of the locker room to go home. When you're standing there, you don't even want to say anything to them because they're feeling it. I thought that we only sort of came alive late in the third period. But overall, that performance is not good enough for players in the Belfast Giants uniform. That's it. There's no way we should be getting, with the greatest respect to the Dundee Stars, There's no way we should be getting beat at home by the Dundee Stars. I don't care if you're sleeping in your bed for 5 or 6 hours that night before. We should be beating teams like the Dundee Stars. That's it. If you want to get up and challenge for titles at the end of the season, these are games that's going to come back to haunt us, and you're going to sit and look at it and go, "Oh God." If we only would have put in a performance against the Dundee Stars in the last game in November, it was really, really disappointing. But look, we you know what? I mentioned on the podcast last week, we played really well in 2 games, scored 13 goals, conceded 4 against the Manchester Storm last week. And I said it at the time, don't be getting too high, guys, because we've got another 2 difficult games this weekend. And you know what? We're exactly in the same position. We got nothing out of the weekend. And now we've got to go to Fife and Glasgow this weekend, which, let me tell you something, Fife are starting to play well. Glasgow have started the season off well. I was impressed with them in their first game they played at the SSE a few weeks ago. So these 2 games this weekend, which everybody thinks we should go to Glasgow and Kirkcaldy and win handsomely, it's not going to be easy. So disappointing against Dundee. But the last thing I'm going to say on it is the Dundee Stars deserved to win on Saturday, Sunday. They deserved that win. They deserved the goals that they scored. Probably unlucky not to get a couple of other ones because Jackson played really well. Pasha and his team, fair play to them. They put it to us on Sunday, and with no way of looking at it, no other way of looking at it.
There are certain hockey traditions in Belfast, and one that's come through is Omar Pasha always gets 1 win at the SSE per season. It's happened in Hull, it happened in Manchester, it's now happening in Dundee. He always seems to get 1 result at the SSE. Davy, there was a lot of talk around this game about retribution. Kyle Haas and the suspension, wanted to show something, wanted the team wanted to have some reaction. The psychology of the game as well is funny, is that we've just spoke about the Cardiff Devils game and how well we played and not coming away, that you could actually come away thinking, that was a good performance. But the weekend is tainted by the fact that the second game is this Dundee game where the performance was so poor.
Very audible boos ringing around the arena too at the final hooter, which was, it's one of those, Paddy, and almost throw a question back to you because I know you love getting questions on the podcast, but we're talking about going to Scotland on a double header this weekend. You might even be able to get a couple of games yourself. But are we getting to almost a stage where some of these games are must-win games?
Well, yeah, they are, because, we know how many times have we been in a position in the years gone by where we've had bad weekends against teams that we should be winning against, the likes of Dundee Stars and the day Edinburgh Cap. Remember we had a double header against, was it Fife and Edinburgh in the SSE, and we lost both games and we ended up losing the league season by 1 point, 2 points, something like that. These points in November, points in December, because of the way that our league is unique, and that sort of get up to the fact that we have to win these games in order to get these points to get the big trophy. All games should be must-win games at all parts of the season. But what is falling in our favour is the fact that the likes of Cardiff, Sheffield, Nottingham, and all are also dropping points, unexpected points, going to Fife and losing, and getting beat here. We had Guildford at the top of the league at the start of the weekend. These games, there's a little bit of parity happening, so the Giants can come back and have little bits and pieces here. But what I will say is it a must-win game this weekend? They all are. What's so funny, Davy?
It says in the WhatsApp, it's ridiculous. Right in the middle of the show, says, "Come on."
Sorry, I
couldn't resist one from Madrid. Anyway.
But coming back to the events on the ice, obviously there were a lot of people probably in the SSE arena with eyes on the Giants, eyes on Haas, eyes on what was going to happen based on what had happened a couple of weeks ago.
It comes back to conversations we've had right through the season as Keefe built the team with team toughness, and that might mean players that are willing to die in a ditch to block a shot or, hard on the forecheck, not necessarily fighting. And we talked last week about, is there a time for somebody just grabbing somebody by the scruff of the neck and telling Kyle Haas that you're not going to hit Boucher like that again this season? Interestingly enough, he didn't chase Bush around like the lovesick puppy he has over the last, 5 games. So I don't know whether that hit has kind of closed the chapter for Haas on it or not.
You know what? I have to jump in there, David. I thought Haas played really well at the weekend.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not taking anything away from
He, as you say, he didn't go chasing anybody. He played a lot of minutes, and especially after missing 3 games. You can miss your timing as well. He didn't take any stupid penalties. Maybe did he take one actually? I think he might have had 1 penalty, but he did try and let's just say be a little bit theatrical on a few occasions throughout the game. But I thought he turned in a decent performance, and if he plays like that all season and can stay in the penalty box, Dundee will beat more teams that coming into this the important part of the season as well.
Yeah, only Griffin Reinhardt with more time on ice than Haas led the Dundee Stars with just over 25 minutes. But in terms of like statty things in the game, 70-30 the Giants in face-offs. We had a lot of possession, 100 shots. Now I can't remember seeing that before on the Instats that we had 100 shots. Okay, 63 or something on target. But to me, and Rayner talked about it as well, quality over quantity. And I don't think that Dundee Stars necessarily lay down in front of so many shots. We're taking low percentage shots. Our D-men are having a massive percentage of those shots because we're working the puck very well back to points and having low percentage shots then from the D with nobody in front, no traffic, easy shot. Adam Morrison will save, I'm going to put a number on it, 96, 97% of the shots that aren't screened from the top of the circles. Probably more than that. Probably even more than that. That's 97 out of 100. He's going to let 3 in, maybe not even that, because they're all just into that big, massive baseball mitt. It's not a professional goaltender saves those. It's Matt Carruth, isn't it? Carruth let the goals in because he couldn't see the puck. Morrison lets the goals in on Sunday. The one, Rayner feeds it up the wall, hooky to Rupert, who does a lovely backhand pass to backhand spinorama to Longer, who goes in. And Slater Doggett does a lot of hard work in front of the net, taking the D-man right out of the... But just as Doggett takes it across Morrison's eyes, that's when Longer releases his shot. He's screened. The second one, we're 5-on-3. We've got the extra man on. We're 6-on-3. We've got there's so much traffic in front, and they're slapping at the puck, and we get the goal. It's just going back to the same repetition, Paddy, and we're repeating ourselves ad infinitum here. Without traffic in front of the top goaltenders in this league, without crossing that Royal Road that I talk about, you'd score very few goals. You do score goals, but you score very few. You get the breakaway goals. And whenever we collapsed in, that third goal was the killer on Sunday night. But for Jackson Whistle, it might have been 5 or 6 already at that stage. But that when we all piled in there looking at that loose puck that was everybody's looking where's it going for, and they've broke and they're gone. They're away to the races and they get that 2-on-1. And unfortunately, West can't pull us out of the hole on that occasion. And you're 3-1 down and you've got, I think it was maybe 6 minutes left, something like that. And it was all hands. And that's when the Belfast Giants came to the game. For the first time on Sunday night, I felt that we came to the game in the last 5 minutes. And maybe a few years ago, different teams with the Jeff Suezes and stuff in it, I don't allow us to get in that situation, but you feel like they're going to come back. I didn't get that impression on Sunday night that, don't worry, there's 5 minutes left for 2 goals, but we're going to be okay here. I felt under pressure that whole 5 minutes. Get a goal. Come on, get a goal. And, but back to the very start, the Haas, this team doesn't have it. And I don't mean this team doesn't have it in terms of team toughness. This team doesn't have that one guy that's going to line up beside Haas and go, let's talk, let's dance here, big lad. It's just, we've discussed it. We might change. We might, changes happen through seasons gone by. You don't know what will happen, but I just don't believe at the minute we have that guy.
Well, that's just briefly, just so we're going to wrap things up here and move it along. But what I want to just ask is, I said earlier on, I'm suffering a bit from this booster, but I didn't get a chance to normally do to type up the 3-word weekends to have them scroll along the bottom. But ultimately, you'll see when you go on Twitter, and we asked for the 3-word weekend reviews, a lot of people looking for change, be that change in approach, change in personnel, change in tactics, whatever. We're going into this weekend against Fife and Glasgow, and we know what's coming. What changes need to be made, sis? Or do changes need to be made?
Well, I mean, look, again, when you're in a position like this, you need your top end guys to be scoring. You need your top end guys to be turning up. When our guys turn up on the top 2 lines, we play much, much better. When you look at Saturday's game, that's exactly what happened. I thought that both lines, the first top 2, you've got there was Darcy, Pick and Cons, and then you had Coops, Goody and Laker. and I thought they were excellent on Saturday. You know, and when Sunday again, we just didn't get firing. This weekend especially, and you know, I'm sure we'll go on to talk about Davy's favorite part of the show. You know, it's one of those ones where if we don't turn up against the Fly Flyers in their own barn on Saturday night, we're going to get pumped. That's it. They're starting to turn a corner. They're starting to play really well. They beat the Nottingham Panthers away on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure they won on Sunday as well. I can't remember who they played on Sunday, but I'm pretty sure they picked up a 4-point weekend. So, you know, teams like there's no easy games in this league anymore. There's, you know, where we are right now. Like, I'm not all downbeaten and thinking that's the season's over. That's not the case. We're sitting in 4th position. We're sitting 4th before the weekend. We're sitting 4th now. Yes, we've got a little bit of a gap between now us and Cardiff Devils. We have a game in hand. We have a couple of games in hand against Guildford and Sheffield. And we've got all these teams to play. We haven't played Guildford this year. We've got hammered by Sheffield, and that's, you know, we've got 2 games coming up against them very shortly at home.
And these teams have to come here. Remember, these 2 games in Cardiff we played, they have to come here. Nottingham have to come here. Sheffield have to come here yet as well.
Yeah, and if we sleep in our own beds and we get a chance to basically turn up on a Saturday or Sunday in Belfast itself, it's going to be a different kettle of fish. So let's not all be disappointed. Yes, it's a disappointing weekend, but it's behind us now. There's nothing we can do about it. Absolutely nothing. The most important game's the next one, which is against the Five Flyers on Saturday.
Davey, anything to add before moving on?
What's the question?
Well, the question is changes.
I'm not one for change's sake, just because that's not an effective tactic either. I think we need to get more guys firing, and you seen Keefe on Sunday especially just tossing line combinations out to try and get boys sparked into the game. With 11 forwards there, the top 9 and the 2 guys that are sort of subbing in and out there in that 4th line with an extra centre man or whatever. Not enough of them are firing in the same games at the same time. And this is a production business, and unfortunately for people, production is what a lot of the time what you're levied on. People don't always watch the game. People sometimes just go to the stats and go, oh, you know. So people will be feeling under pressure. They'll go, ooh, when they're going down. Ooh. So you know, guys will feel under pressure. I know we talked the other day, Simon. You talked about absolute BS of you know, you grip the stick too tight and all. You know, it's just a hockey cliche when guys are under pressure. But confidence is massive. Confidence is so key in the game. It's a key, and I said this earlier in the game, it's key in all sports and it's key in life. People play better, people perform better in all spheres of work. This is a working environment for these guys, and they'll perform better when they're confident. And they came off, you know, we went to Nottingham and won 5-0 and we were the best team in the league. That's only a month ago. So we talk all the time, another hockey cliche, not getting too high, not getting too low. The D have to take their responsibility, because I think there's guys on D need to step up their game as well. Goaltending, thankfully, has been pretty hot. And I've pulled this out. Jackson Whistle, as we talked about, we get beat 6 or 7 maybe on Sunday night if we don't have a really hot goaltender. Besko, I thought, was superb on Sunday night. Barry only had 11 shots, 5-on-5 to face. So in terms of, I wouldn't be rushing to make changes at the minute. But, you know, we're now 10 weeks into a 30-week season, and we're not perhaps in the position in the league where we want to be or where we need to be. So big weekend coming up, and guys will have to really focus down and bear down on that, because that's where we're getting the goals from. I don't want to go over it again. I don't want to do the bit at the end of the show where we talk about the games. Got to get traffic in front. We've got to get in front of that goal, and we've got to cross that Royal Road and score goals. But listen, don't score more than 2 goals, we're not winning games.
Jolie's not here. You're going to have to say something when we get to the end. We'll move it on, gents. The highlights from this game, if you want to watch them, are from Belfast Giants TV on YouTube. Right, we've got Mark Cooper waiting in the wings to chat to us and answer your TFA questions. But before that, just quickly, that Sis popped down to training and had a chat with Adam Keefe. And first, Jeff Baum.
Jeff, a tough weekend for you. Again, I was chatting to Adam a few minutes ago about the delayed flight on Saturday. It's not easy sitting in an airport for when you're going on holiday, never mind playing a hockey match. But you just come out and put up a really good display on Saturday night. Yeah, most definitely. It was difficult with that travel day to get the legs going and get right off the bus and be ready to go. But I thought we did a good job of coming out ready to go in that first game and doing a good job of holding Cardiff and their offensive players down to not too much, but make sure that we're always ready to go at the start of games for sure is very important. You played 2 games against Cardiff in Cardiff now. probably 2 games they should have picked something up from. Even though they got a couple of power play goals on Saturday night, but do you feel a bit unlucky, a bit aggrieved by for not getting anything out of the game?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely put on some 2 good showings in Cardiff, and it's unfortunate that we didn't come out the way we wanted to, but it's a good learning moment for us to have early in the season, and it leads into these later games against these big teams to make sure that we're ready to go and make sure we get points out of them.
Dundee, Sunday. I think it's probably said the least said about it, the better.
Yeah, most definitely. It's just a tough one. We need to make sure that even though we had a long travel day the day before, we show up and we're ready to go right off the start.
This weekend, doubleheader in Scotland. You're going to Fife. You've had success against them so far this season, but they've started to pick up a couple of results, so it's going to be a tough game in Kirkcaldy.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you see these teams picking up guys and making a push now as we're getting later into the season, and it's important that we take these games with as much seriousness as we possibly can and come out with some big points after this unfortunate weekend.
And then you've got Glasgow for the first time, heading into Braehead. Looking forward to that one as well?
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good to play them again, and it'd be nice to play them at their home barn in Glasgow.
Glasgow or Glasgow?
Glasgow.
Good man, well done. It looked like a tough day this morning, was it?
Yeah, it was much needed for sure. Get the legs going after a day off yesterday and get back to work and get back to those things that make us successful, and our work ethic needs to pick up for sure.
Cheers, Bomber. Thank you, mate. I know. Adam, tough weekend for you. I know you don't like making excuses, but sitting in the airport for 8 hours isn't going to help anybody before the game against Cardiff. But you must have been happy with the performance against the Devils in Cardiff on Saturday night.
Yeah, I was. I thought defensively we were very sound. Obviously, the PK could have been better. That's something the coaching staff need to work through this week to make sure that we're better next weekend. Obviously, this weekend it potentially cost us both games.
Sunday's game against Dundee, it was polar opposites. Defensively, you give up so many odd man rushes, but overall, again, you were very disappointed with the overall performance.
Yeah, I mean, watching the game back, I felt that we did work. We just didn't work very smart. And I thought we were second to puck battles, second to the second man race, and just seemed to be not mentally there. You know what? And I suppose you could put that down to traveling 2 days in a row, but at the end of the day, Dundee gets on a boat 6 in the morning, 3-hour bus trip, and then ferry to get here as well. So there's no excuse. We just need to simplify our game in those moments and be better, and we need to work harder to get to that net. I mean, we put a lot of pucks on Morrison, but the second opportunities weren't there, and those are the ones we need to get.
This weekend, doubleheader in Scotland. We've had success against the Flyers so far this season, but they've changed the way they're playing, and they're starting to play really, really well as well, and picked up quite a few wins over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I look at no further than this past weekend. Obviously, 2 big wins for them over 2 good hockey teams. Us coming off 2 losses. We just need to turn, get back on the horse and get going. It's a work week this week, and we need to go into Scotland and put the work boots on for a dirty road win.
Big thanks to Bomber and to Adam Keefe. Thanks for putting down doing that as always, says. Right, we're going to shoot right into the fan agenda. A man who's been waiting in the wings for a while, so we thank him for that. He's number 26 for your Belfast Giants. It is, of course, Mark Cooper. How are you doing, mate?
How are we doing, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Good. Thanks for hanging in the background there. We keep you waiting for a while there while we were talking about the Dundee game, and that unfortunately is where I'm going to start. What was your take on the weekend?
Yeah, I thought we played really well in Cardiff. Didn't get the result we wanted. It was a lot to build on, and then we came out against Dundee after travel and stuff, and just kind of laid an egg in the first. Kind of hung on there a little bit, but I thought we were just a little behind the 8 ball from the start of the game, and West made some great saves early just to keep us in there and give us a little bit of life, but we weren't able to help them out with any scoring. So it was a frustrating result, and hopefully we can forget about it and move on to this weekend.
We spoke earlier on about the Devils game and how well you guys played, especially considering the wait that you had in the airport before even getting to Cardiff.
Yeah, I think we didn't have a game midweek that week, so we were fresh and ready to go, and everyone kind of circled that on our calendar after the first time we went to Cardiff, thinking that we kind of got snubbed because we outplayed them again. But so we were ready to go. I don't think the airport was any excuse. Obviously, we were a little tired, but I think just getting in there, the crowd was roaring and stuff. So it was a fun environment to play in. We just got to find a way to get the results we need.
Coops, we've been talking about the weekend's games there and just going through the end stats and the numbers, like 181 shots or efforts at net, you know, and our 4 goals come up from, and you're involved yourself, and we've talked about that over the last couple of weekends, about getting traffic in front of goalies and getting those second scoring opportunities, which are, and Rayner sort of accused his own, not his teammates, but just the team in general, of being a bit too much quantity over quality. We've got to think better when we're taking those shots and just try and get a bit dirtier in front of the net, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. You said earlier that goalies are going to make the save. It's professional hockey if they can see the puck. So I think it's essential to have in the offensive zone a third guy high and then 2 guys kind of crashing at the net. But we haven't been able to capitalize on the second opportunities. We create the traffic, but I think our F2 is either too early or too late, and we got to figure out how to time that better to get to those loose pucks and create additional opportunities.
It's been something that's been quite I've noticed it more over the last maybe 3-4 weekends, that it seems to be you're the one go-to guy that's getting on the goalie's toe caps, getting on top of the blue paint. Is that something that you've been asked to do, or something you're wanting to do yourself, or how's that came about?
I've been taught from a young age, just kind of stay around the net and good things will happen. So I kind of base my play around that. But on the power play, that's kind of where my position is. And then playing with Laker and Goody recently, they do some good work in the corner. So I kind of just post up in front, and they'll create some havoc and get pucks to the net for me. So I kind of found a spot there recently, and I think I'm doing an okay job at it. Hopefully a few more going off me or something, and we start creating some more goals.
Coops, firstly, how's the legs after your wee skate this morning?
A little loosey. I had to bike downtown for a class today, and they were cramping up on me, but it was a good skate this morning for sure. We did kind of our training camp skate test again. It was good to get through it. It's a good team building thing. Obviously, we'd rather not do it, but I think overall we'll build off that hard work this week and lead into the weekend.
Yeah, that's what you get for no point weekend. You just have to skate, mate. You just have to sort that out.
We kind of knew something was coming. We just didn't know what, and there was some hints towards something like that, but we weren't sure until Kiefer announced it, and no one was thrilled, but we all got through it.
I want to talk. You've mentioned about the travel schedule, ECHL, EIHL. When you're in the ECHL, you're busting a hell of a lot of the time, and it's a long journey as well. But how have you found the schedule? Obviously, this weekend past was something a little bit out of the ordinary. But I can't remember the last time we've been held up for that long in an airport. But how do you find the schedule compared to what your travels when like to South Carolina?
I've felt the travel here has been a lot better. Just on my body, we get to sleep more nights in our own bed. Like last year, playing 4 games a week, kind of all over the place. You end up sleeping on the bus, and you obviously don't get as good a sleep sleeping on a bus, especially not a sleeper bus. So. The way we get treated here has been great. Saturday wasn't ideal, sleeping in the airport and stuff, but other than that, there's been no complaints. The East Coast League, the travel is definitely difficult. I think I've been through everything: snowstorms, broken buses, kind of everything through that league. So I've experienced it all. So anything kind of thrown at me, I've seen it, and hopefully can show the young guys that it's all about what you can do come game time. No one really cares. No one really tries to make it an excuse.
As is nature of this part of the show, we threw up some of the questions, throw it out there to Twitter and see what some people come back with.
Okay.
Michael Reagan's come back with just to say he wants to say thanks that you signed a goal puck for him from the OSC. But his question was, what's impressed you so far about Belfast as a city, and what attracted you to come play for the Giants in the first place?
Attracted me to the Giants was Kiefer and Thorts kind of reached out to me as I was my first year professionally, and kind of mentioned what the deal was here. They reached out every summer, and I just said, I'm not ready yet. Just I wanted to continue to pursue my dreams of playing in the NHL and playing in North America. But then this summer, they reached out again, and I felt it was a great opportunity. And I know Kyle Bond quite well, so I talked to him and some other guys that have played in this league, not particularly with the Giants, and they all said this is the spot to be. And I thought it was just a great fit for me. And then what was the second part of the question? Oh, Belfast.
Belfast, yeah.
Yeah, Belfast. I've loved Belfast so far. Gets a little dark, a little too early for my liking, but that's all right. I'm used to South Carolina weather, so it's been a bit of an adjustment in that part. But I love the city. I love the people here, and then the fans obviously are great. They're ready to go every game and screaming for us. So it's been a real treat to play here so far.
One from Johnny Baxter. Did you have any idea about Lyndon Springer before you dropped and went the other weekend?
I knew I saw his penalty minutes a few times, but that's about it. I know no, he's a tough guy. I was told, and he plays a tough-nosed game, and he kind of got under my skin a little bit. Maybe not the best time to fight him on a power play, but I guess he pushed my buttons the wrong way, and I just thought it was time to. He plays a tough game, and hopefully that changed his game a little bit and gave us some more respect.
Coops, I want to come in on the back of that, because on the video it's clear that he's kind of said you want to go or whatever, and you've gone no, it's not the right time. And then the linesmen sort of get involved and they're telling you off, and the refs, if you do this, you know, just let them go. And you sort of just look at each other and you go, you know what? Let's go. And it was and you must have fed off that. I know you said that during the fight, you perhaps all you hear is the thuds, but once it's over, like you see how much the arena fed off that, and then dogs go on the following night as well. That it's still part of the game.
For sure, I think it holds players accountable. It's kind of a self-policing out there that it is still part of the game. I think it's an important part. As you guys were saying earlier in the podcast, that we don't have that typical tough guy role, but we try to play that team toughness that Kiefer instills. But once in a while, if something happens, like in the Haas situation, like Darcy jumped in there, the whole team was in there, and then the Springer one, and Doug. So I think it just shows that guys are willing to compete and do what it takes, and not afraid to do it if it comes time to it. It's not definitely no one's role on our team, but it is definitely still a part of the game, and guys are willing to compete for each other out there.
It's not something that obviously is or has particularly been part of your game, but is it something you phone home or getting the messages back to the parents to say, guess what happened tonight? They watching any?
Yeah, well, my mom's not thrilled when I do it, but I fought a couple times in North America, a little more earlier in my career, but my dad always says good battle, good fight, but my mom's not thrilled, and but a few of my buddies chimed in and said I did a good job, and that they played against Springer before and said that it was needed, kind of.
I want to go firstly. I've got two ways of looking at this. You've played more or less every other team in the league so far. I think Guildford's the only one we haven't faced.
Yeah.
Who has stood out for you? I mean, I know you as I say, you played a couple against Cardiff, we played Nottingham, Sheffield. Is there a team that stood out for you that you think are probably better equipped than, or probably the best equipped that you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think every game we fared pretty well or outshot our opponent except that Sheffield game. I know that they're always a team to beat in this league, and we obviously kind of laid an egg in that one. But I'm kind of real excited to play them back to back here at home and get redemption on them. Cardiff's very opportunistic. They have some great goal scorers, Brody Reed. We've been able to kind of shut them down 5-on-5, but their power play is a real threat. And we knew that going in. We just weren't able to stop it. So that'll be a key focus for playing them next. I know Nottingham didn't have their best effort against us when we played them, and we kind of came out flying. But I know that they'll show up better next time we play them. But I think every team has their star players, and you can't take anyone for granted in this league. I think it's way more deep than years past from what I've heard from players. And you got to take everyone seriously and come to every game like it's the Sheffield Steelers, or every game matters, because you are playing for a regular season title and not to play for a playoff kind of thing.
And then I want to look at this weekend. You've already faced the Five Flyers and you've already faced Glasgow. 2 tough games, 2 tough places to go into. You haven't been to Glasgow yet. But after the disappointment of last weekend, what have we got to do to make things better this weekend?
Yeah, I think we gotta stay confident. We know we're a good team. We can't let this past weekend kind of trickle into our play next weekend. Fife's obviously rolling right now. They've won 2 in a row. That's not going to be easy playing in their building. I'm sure their crowd's going to be roaring and ready to go. And Glasgow, the first time we played them, it was their first game, so they've kind of probably found their stride since then. It's going to be a tough weekend. Take it. You guys were saying must wins earlier. It could be must wins. Just I think losing 4 in a row is not the way to win this league. So we got to go in and play our game and not focus on them. Kind of get back to what we're good at and go from there. And hopefully that'll get us the results we want.
Coops, just before Paddy comes in there, caveat that
Yeah.
where we're talking about the kind of the must win, and you kind of referenced it yourself there about the difference in the league and the setup here, that the regular season title is the kind of the one to win, because with the greatest respect, the playoffs is over 2 weekends and it's a bit of a lottery. Has there been an adjustment for some of the boys that it's not it really is 2 points in September are as important as 2 points in March here?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment for me. Like last year, our team needed to win like 16 of our last 18 games to just get in the playoffs. And then we ended up doing it and got in and ended up going to the final. So it's not like a build up for the playoff kind of league, which is definitely a change because I haven't played a format like that in my life. I think it instills the importance of everyday practice and just consistency, which trickles into every game is just as important as the next. And I think it starts in practice and just everyday habits, and that just and that builds consistency throughout the year.
We got the game, as it says, Saturday and Sunday over in Scotland. What does the rest of the week entail for you, Mark? You're saying you were cycling in for a class. Is there a bit of studying going on?
Yeah, the semester's coming to an end. Just getting all my papers and stuff formatted and done, but it's been good so far. Learning a lot and gets you not thinking about hockey all the time, which is sometimes nice to just get your mind away from the game, especially after a tough weekend. So it's been a nice escape at times, but it's been a grind, but it's been fun and I'm learning a lot.
Coops, just one last thing from me.
Yeah,
I know that your mum and dad are coming over soon. You must be looking forward to seeing them. Obviously, your first time overseas for work. And you must be looking forward to seeing them when they come over soon.
Yeah, for sure. they've always been able to visit me where I've played, except last year, just because of travel restrictions and stuff. So they've booked a long trip, and my sister is coming as well. So they're going to spend 3.5 weeks here in Christmas. So it'll be nice to spend Christmas with them. And my dad's actually, his grandparents are from Belfast. He's never been here. So I've never met them, and he didn't know them either. But they are from Belfast, so maybe we'll dig into some history while they're here and enjoy some dark beer, I guess, and try and find our ancestors.
It's unusual.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you very much for spending time with us and answering some of the questions from the guys on Twitter and from ourselves. Have a good week this week and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Love what you guys do and appreciate it.
Thanks,
Cheers,
bud.
See you in the morning.
Thanks, Coops.
Thanks again to Mark Cooper. Great to have him on. And thanks to everybody who sent in your TFA questions. Right. Julie's not here. So,
really good lad.
Oh, yeah, top lad. The Julie's not here, so I'm going to have to do the news. I've really enjoyed outsourcing the dops and the news to Joel because it just makes my life a little bit easier. But I had to write this down, so bear with me. No dops this week from the old accounts. I've just had another check. No dops at all. So bonus. Well done, everybody. Everybody playing the game properly. Good to see. It was a 4-point weekend for Dundee, who took the win over Manchester the night before they travelled to Belfast, and likewise, Fife, as Sis mentioned earlier on, Fife were in ominous form prior to the Giants' return to Kirkcaldy. A 3-0 win over the then league leaders Fife was followed by a 4-2 win over Nottingham on Lower Parliament Street. Clan finally got to open their home account in a new era for the club. But Danny Stewart was to spoil the party with a shootout win 3-2. Malcolm Cameron did inspire his team to win on the road, however, thrashing the Storm 5-1 at the Drizzle Dome. Blaze hosted Cardiff in Premier Sports Game of the Week as the Sky Dome Ice was finally able to accommodate some hockey. However, it was a 2-0 victory for the visitors, giving them a 4-point haul from the weekend's activities. And finally in games, the Steelers had a Challenge Cup match against Nottingham, which I don't know the score of, but I don't care because it didn't actually mean anything in the end.
5-4.
Was it?
I think it was 5-4 overtime.
Nah, it was a dead rubber. It was all decided.
But it wasn't really a dead rubber.
Was it for seedings?
It was for seeding, so we ended up. I'm sure you'll probably come to it. I'll not spoil your bubble.
Thanks, Simon. That's very kind of
Your bubble.
They did, however, Sheffield did get a win the next night as they beat the Flames in Surrey to return to the summit of the league table. And they did so without the services of Anthony DeLuca. And I quote the Sheffield Steelers press release. At 5:30 p.m. on Friday evening, the Sheffield Steelers were advised by Anthony DeLuca that he had failed an anti-doping test. Anthony is tested positive for a banned substance and is currently suspended with immediate effect. No further comment will be made by the club. Now, a couple of things here. First of all, the wording I found quite interesting. They were informed by Anthony DeLuca. It wasn't where that's coming from. That's for conjecture there. Your thoughts, gentlemen? Davey?
No comment, Paddy.
Okay. Simon?
Don't care.
Okay, let's go back to the games then. Is there anything out there, Davey, that surprised you?
I wasn't really.
He wasn't listening. I knew he was going to say
I knew he wasn't listening.
The show's over.
That's why I went straight to him.
No, look, let's go on the Challenge Cup talk. It's now.
Right, okay, well then, I've got a spiel then. Finally, the Giants top the Challenge Cup seedings, and we'll face the 8th seed Coventry Blaze in the Challenge Cup quarter-final. The first leg is on Wednesday, the 8th of December in Coventry. The second leg will be over a month later in Belfast on Sunday, the 12th of January. The other quarter-final, Sheffield against Fife, Cardiff against Dundee, Guildford against Nottingham. Davy, the quarter-final of the Challenge Cup.
Did you say the first leg's when?
First leg's next Wednesday, 8th of December. And then the second leg is over a month later.
Might go up that. Because then my opinion will be more valid, of course, on the following point.
I was thinking about going that myself.
Yeah, might hook up that.
I might be there.
Let's see, is there? Let's get Julie. Let's get the whole thing. Let's do the show right there.
Get the band together.
It's funny. Joel's from Larney. He'll never spend the money. It's funny now that it's this December and we're only getting the quarterfinal stage. I know people have spoke to me this week about, we've got questions on Twitter and stuff about what would you do to make the format different. I would make it the pre-season, the pre-league, if you like, tournament. Same format's fine. You play each of the teams in your group 4 times or whatever it is over the 3-4 weekends. Quarterfinals, semis, and finals over like the next 3 weekends. And the teams that get knocked out just play exhibition matches against each other because they need to keep playing. You've got your final at Halloween, and we're in the league action by the end of October, because this where some teams have played exponentially more games than others in the league, and you never catch up. You never know where anybody is. And when we get to March, it's like, oh, well, we've 4 games to catch up and we're 6 points behind and games in hand, points in the bag, all this good stuff. It just goes on too long. And we're all being doom and gloom about how the Giants, we're the top seed. You know, we've came through that group stage and we're in a better position than anybody else. Would I have the seed have changed it slightly where the top seed used to pick who they wanted to play, but now it's 1v8. So we've got the Coventry Blaze. Do I think we can do Blaze over 2 legs? Absolutely, I do. And I expect us to go through to the next round of the Cup. It's always important to get that first leg and get something out of it to come home with. So as I say, if I can get away with it, I might head up to Coventry next Wednesday and make a night of it.
Simon?
Again, Coventry are a tough team to play against. We did play very well with them when we had that game. Wasn't it on Free Sports or Premier Sports?
Yep.
So we had a good game that night. We ended up coming out with a win. There's a couple of really good players in that Coventry Blaze team this year, and I said at the start of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I said at the start of the year that I thought it could be the team that sort of, I know the arena teams are always up and up around about the top of the league, but I think Coventry Blaze could be one of those teams to really poke their head into the top 4, 5, or 6 anyway. But is there an easier draw out there with the way it's basically you take the 1 versus 8 instead of taking your pick this year? Is there an easier draw? I'm not so sure. I don't know if I had been, if I had the option of picking a team that was in the obviously the top 8 of the 9 that played to get into the top 8, who would I pick? I really don't know. I did think about this the other day. As I say, Fife are starting to play well. Dundee, we've always had tough games against Dundee, both home and away. We haven't played Guildford yet. Nottingham Panthers, you always like to hump them whenever you get the opportunity. But whatever way you've got to do it, you've got to, if you want to get the final and you want to win the trophy, you've got to beat all these teams anyway. So you've got your draw made. Is it ideal to have a month in between? Not really, but again, it's the only time we can get the availability without them playing a game, without us playing a game, and obviously it's different. They can take their ice whenever they want to, but we've got to work around gigs and concerts and events and what have you. So look, I fancy our chances. We've got a good team. We didn't have a great weekend, but we've got a good team, and I'd like to think that we've got a real chance of going through.
If you want to be the best and you want to beat the rest, dedication is what you need.
Go ahead, Roy. And talking about Roy, how much does Davy look like his dad when he's just leaning back there?
That's a good man. I was talking to him earlier there.
Absolutely. Top man, legend.
I have to say, I do agree with you, Davey, on the idea of a revamp of the Challenge Cup and putting it as a pre-season tournament and just sticking all the fixtures in, and and then having exhibition games for those people who have been knocked out, and so they still have the warm up building up to the start of a league season. Because just that you look at what we have now, and you look at we have this game next Wednesday against the Coventry Blaze in Coventry, and then it's over a month before we face them in the second leg. And obviously that's down to ice time, and that's that's availability of ice, and that's that's just the way it is in this league. And then it's going to be the 12th of January, and then we're going to have to, if we make it through, it's the semi-finals, and then that all has to be completed within the 2 semi-finals have to be completed before March 3rd, probably in and around first week of March is when that usually when the Challenge
February.
Cup, is it February?
Yeah,
is
I
it
think
February
so,
this year? Because it was the last couple of years. It's been the first weekend in March, but
no, the final's been the first weekend of March.
yes, that's what I mean. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So we'd have to fit the semi-finals in there, and
Yeah.
if we're already pushing the quarterfinal out until January to find the ice time, there's that juggling match that has to happen. We end up playing on a Tuesday night or whatever to try to fill the schedule. Surely there must be a better way to do it.
I just think it should be like the League Cup, in football, in Scotland especially, because it's usually played before Christmas now, isn't it? To get the thing over and done with. The whole thing, in my own opinion, if we could get it all done and dusted before Christmas, then everybody can concentrate on the league performances, and they can move into unless you're playing European competition. But no, for me,
like the Benson and Hedges Cup was.
Yeah,
like the B&H Cup was done before Christmas.
Even if they want to keep the showpiece final for after Christmas and Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, around end of February, early March, whatever. But all the group and all the semi-finals and all either done and dusted. I would personally have the final like Halloween weekend or whatever, and that's it, done.
Well, we were supposed to. Do you remember, the Elite League initially wanted to have this Fantastic Five or whatever it was called. Do you remember to open the season when it was, after COVID, we were going to have a big get together in Nottingham as a bit of a like magic weekend that they have in rugby league, and obviously that didn't happen in the end. We didn't do that. We didn't have a season last season, and it was sort of jettisoned. But for an early season sort of playoffs sort of scenario, if you did have the semi-finals on the Sunday and the semi-finals on the Saturday as one leggers and a final on a Sunday, and you had it in Sheffield or in Belfast or in just not Nottingham, because obviously the playoffs are Nottingham, and have it as an early in the season weekend of hockey. Why not?
I'm not even sure if I'm bothered about like a second playoff weekend or whether to have all the fans of all the teams there. I just think that the two teams that get to the final deserve their day of their day in the sun. And
to be honest, I would agree with that, Davey. I mean, at the end of the day, the teams want to play their home games. They want to get their, at the end of the day, they want to get their home gate coming in for that. If it goes to a semi-final, they're not going to get that. It's going to split in the EIHL. So the teams will want to get, if you get a chance to basically play home and away on a semi-final of a cup competition, you're going to get a reasonably good crowd in, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday night, or whether it's a weekend. So for me, I just think that there's bound to be a better way to organize it. I think it should be all done a Halloween weekend cup final, by all means. I think I'd be all for that. But the final itself, my own personal view is it should be a neutral venue. It shouldn't be every time going to Cardiff. It should, even the playoffs. I get the playoffs going to Nottingham.
Move it around.
We all have a brilliant weekend in Nottingham when we go. But I think it's maybe about time that should be jig that around a bit. I know for a fact that there's an awful lot of fans over in Sheffield, Nottingham, Cardiff, Coventry, Guildford, like would love to come to Belfast for a playoff weekend. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. But for me, it should be a neutral venue for whatever two teams are playing. So if you get it all organised, and then if it has to go to Nottingham or if it has to go to Sheffield or it has to go to Belfast, that's just how I feel about it.
Who gets the Continental Cup? Is it the Challenge Cup?
Challenge Cup
playoff champion? Challenge Cup winner?
Is it not the playoff?
No, Challenge Cup winner. Well, sorry, the Challenge Cup winner got it. Sheffield as Challenge Cup winner went into the Continental Cup this year.
You're absolutely correct. That's correct.
Which gives people something to play with. The Challenge Cup's harder to win than the playoffs. So I agree so I think either it has to be the team that finishes second in the league or it has to be the Challenge Cup. But I think the playoffs is a nonsense in this country, much as I really want to win it every year. That's still a stain on our history that we haven't won it since 2010. But I digress. The Challenge Cup needs an overhaul, and this 1 month between legs in the quarterfinal is, and I'm sure we're not the latest team to be playing in the quarterfinals, so you could be into February before the semi-finals are lined up.
You could feasibly have one leg of the semi-final happening before our second leg of the quarterfinal.
You could also have, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, right on that. So, like I said, the other quarterfinals: Sheffield against Fife, Cardiff against Dundee, and Guildford against Nottingham. This weekend's fixtures: Fife host the Belfast Giants on Saturday at 7:15 at Fife Ice Arena. You can get it on Flyers TV and hear the commentary on Flyers TV. That's always really enjoyable. 5-1, 3 of their last 5 league games, and then we go down the M8 towards Glasgow to face the Glasgow Clan for the first time at the new Braehead Ice Arena, as it's called for the games when they hold them there. Sunday at 4 p.m. No webcast, as is traditional now in Glasgow. Well, you frown there, Simon. I don't believe. I've checked. I had a look before this at the Elite League website. It wasn't listed as one of the teams that had a webcast. So I know that Nottingham have changed, but I don't think the Glasgow Clan have. Clan are 2-3 in the last 5. They're also potentially missing D-man Mitch Jones, who didn't play last weekend under COVID regulations. The tests went all the way around the Clan dressing room, and he was the only one who has sat out. Davy, who's on mute, so I'll just go on that says Davy really. I don't know if people realize this, but Davy really hates this part of the show. He never likes talking about it because he just thinks he throws out the same old cliches of get pucks deep, get pucks on net, do things well, get in front of the goalie. Is this all the sort of stuff I'm talking about, Davy?
That's exactly right. Now, if Simon says anything different than this is the most important game of the weekend, I'll be very surprised.
Says 5 Flyers.
It's the most important game of the weekend. Get pucks deep, get to the net, have an opportunity to basically, just do the right things, make smart plays,
foot on the throat,
right? Make sure the ferry's on time, get a rest before we can get a nice pre-game meal, a nice nap. Everything's going to be good. 4-point weekend upcoming, but yeah, it's going to be tough. That's bottom line.
Needs to be a reaction from the past weekend.
Yeah,
needs to be a reaction from the Dundee game. And
yes, 5 right there. Reaction from the Dundee game because we played well in Cardiff. There's no
reaction from the Dundee game and then you take into account the fact, like I say, 5 have been playing. They've won 3 in the last 5. They got a 4-point weekend just past. They went to Nottingham and took a win there. They beat Cardiff. They beat Cardiff at home. They beat
by Cardiff.
No, not last weekend, but previously.
Yeah.
They've gained the wins there. Beat Coventry there. They've been getting the wins, and they've sort of from the early season Challenge Cup shambles. Let's be fair, they were a bit of a mess in the Challenge Cup. They've sort of got that together. No sign of Chase Shaver, but they've got that together, and they've they're starting to get the results. So it is going to be difficult for the Giants. And as you said earlier, says the Glasgow Clan are a handful of the way they've started the season.
Yeah, and the guy watched their highlights against Guildford, I think it was, and Manchester. They played well. They have some really good players. And the Glasgow Clan, I mean, they made things difficult for us at home in their first game. I know they'd only been practicing for a week together, but we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. But 5 first, forget about the Cardiff game, Glasgow game until Sunday. It's most important to get this Saturday one first of all.
Like I say, 5 against Belfast Saturday, 7:15 p.m. at Fife House and Arena, and follow the game with the commentators on Flyers TV. Whoa! Oh, what a shot! Oh, the Giants guy did really well. And Glasgow against Belfast, 4 p.m. on Sunday at Braehead Ice Arena. No webcast, but any coverage we'll throw it your way. Any other business, gentlemen?
You want to go first, Davey?
I do, and I just can't put my hand on it at the minute. I will tweet it up. Christine McCackey, Blake's mum, has put up a little thing. I don't know if you were going to say something similar, but
I was. Carry on.
Christmas cards for Blake. He's been stuck in what has been end of August, maybe September time since he's been in London, expecting to go for a couple of weeks. And the wee man, he's a big lad now. He's not a wee man anymore. He's a big 14. Man now. 14, hard to believe. So let's do something nice for Blake here. Let's get Christmas cards coming. Let's get them over to him and do anything we can to make that family's Christmas just a wee bit more bearable. It must be, it's unthinkable as dads ourselves. We've all had times where our kids haven't been well or whatever, but this is a lifetime of a challenge that this wee man's been under, and that family's been on the pump for years and years, and how to deal with it and to deal with it with such
positivity,
dignity and positivity. And let's get Christmas cards over to him, because if that's all we can do for him, then that's what we should be doing.
Here.
That's right. I want to congratulate Davy McJimsey for his passing his next belt this evening. What colour are we, Davy?
The best colour belt, Davy. What colour is it? What the best colour?
It's dark teal.
It's a green belt, Davy.
Strong teal. Strong
but
teal.
Obviously, but the way you're sitting back there, can you show us any moves?
What do you want?
I don't know, mate. I'm not a taekwondo expert.
But if I start throwing these moves out, Kiefer might want to find out if I can skate. You know,
well, I let him know that you can't carry on. I just wanted to throw a big shout out to the OSC committee. They've worked their tail off over the last couple of weekends. We put the sponsored equipment out last Friday for all the fans. We had it for a week of just the members. Christine and Johnny have been working overtime, phoning these people around to get their payments and stuff like that for their equipment that they've sponsored, and I can't thank them enough, because again I was obviously busy for the last couple of weeks and haven't really had time to do much. So without them, and Andre has been working in as well, and so have they all, in fairness. So you've got Lisa and Chloe, the two Ryans, and Nicholas. So thanks very much to all them, and it's been thanks very much indeed. Perfect.
From my point of view, I just want to throw out one for the Bleed Teal. I did a bit of an update. I know we spoke about it the other week. I did a bit of an update. There have been 59 donors since we started this, and there have been who have provided 88 donations. Andy Key must be a pincushion, because he just seems to be pinning out. Obviously, I've just done another one and another one. I don't know if the guy's got any blood left in him, but it's fantastic the amount of people. I know it's been a while now, but the amount of people who have stepped forward and got a needle in their arm to give blood and provide it as part of the Bleed Teal, and just took a photograph, tweeted us. We are going to get that sorted out and have that sort of game where we get together and we fulfill all the promises that we provided. And I think that the amount of people who have come forward, and when you give blood, you give an opportunity to 3 people. It's life-saving. It's a fantastic thing to do. It doesn't cost anything except your time and a pint of the good stuff. And thank you to everybody who has been part of it. And we will keep it going. We'll be pushing it a little bit more over the next coming weeks, especially considering this pandemic, as we see, isn't over just yet. There's going to be people that do need it. And thanks to everybody who's been part of the Bleed Teal.
Here.
Anything else, gents?
No, nothing from
that us done.
I think so. We were hoping for a 45-minute show.
We were. I was.
Just good luck up, boys, this weekend. Good luck. We need a bit of puck luck, a bit of positivity. I'm feeling a bit more upbeat after this cathartic experience.
And I'm still
that skate that Adam did in the day this morning. It was a pre-season skate. Let's just say there was a few burning legs when they come off there this morning. And that's one of those ones where I love playing the game, and it was Sunday nights and having a bit of a laugh. But I'll tell you what, if I had to do that, I'd have been landing center ice right now.
Give people an idea, Simon, because people will have heard the term bag skate, but there's people that will just not know what that actually entails. Just how hard that is.
Well, I mean, it's literally you're going full length of the ice. Well, what they were doing this morning, you've got the suicides and stuff like that you can. I don't know if I can say that, can I?
I have no idea, mate. Anyway, if you explain it, then yes.
So you used to have to go. So you started at the goal line. You go blue line back, red line back, blue line back, red line back, red line back to the blue line, far blue line back to the red line, and back again. That was a tough bag skate. Today they basically did 4 lengths of the ice, full pelt, 5 times. So they're going 200 feet back down again, 200 feet back down again, and on the second one, on the second return, you can glide from the halfway line, because let's be honest, you're bollocks anyway. And when you get to the second one, and when you get to the third one, and then Adam just kept it going. I think they did 5 each a day, but you do it. The boys do it in their line, so all the defense go, and then you've got there was 3 groups all together today, and you're probably getting, for argument's sake, 50 to 70 seconds rest before you've got to go and do it again. It's a tough thing to do. And the big thing about it is it's usually, bag skate only usually comes out when you deserve to have to do it. So if you have a 4-point weekend, you get 2 days off. When you have a no-point weekend, you get 1 day off on a bag skate. So I'm expecting a response this weekend, because I'm telling you now, they will not want to be doing a pre-season bag skate next Tuesday morning. So it's your legs burned. I mean, you've all played sports, and you're getting stuck in, and you're putting full effort in, and when you're especially on a Tuesday morning after your day off, it's tough thing. Everything's burning. It's coming off the ice itself. And you know what? I'll not name names, but there's a few of the boys come off and were on their knee. Actually, there's a few didn't even get off the ice. They were on their knees. There was probably 4 or 5 of them that center ice for at least 7 or 8 minutes before they come off the ice. And there was 1 or 2 got off the ice and went and sat straight down on the bench. I'm not mentioning any names as say hooky, but he was absolutely busted this morning. So there was hooky, and there was even Kieran Long. Like, Kieran Long looked as if he was, let's just say, I don't think he was going to be cutting any hair this afternoon. He was punctured. So that's another thing we need to do. We need to give a shout out to Longer.
Yes, we did.
He wants people to go and give him a shout for a haircut. Paddy,
not after a bag skate though, because he might be just shaking a little bit.
He ended up with a haircut like yours. If you want to get in contact with Kieran Long, drop him a DM on Instagram or wherever else he's on, and he'll get around to you at some point. But I might have to do it 2 times to make sure it's right.
You can cut mine at Christmas.
Right, gents, I think we'll wrap it up there on that. Do you know what? I've new said the videos worked this week. The film, all this, it's all worked very well. I even got the extra sounds on the soundboard, my favorite one.
Somebody at Judas, big dig in the back of the head, or 2 or 3 people giving you a booting. Not on, 100%. Get the police involved. But see one boy against one, and they say, right, come on, well, 2 of us around the corner, nobody else involved. Fair enough.
If you don't know, that was from
that was him.
His one's
the Sheffield Steelers top 10 of 8.
Yeah, both of them are from the Nolan Show, but that Judas one is still my favorite one. For that, and of course, I've also got.
The league are on us. 6. That Londoner, that Chris Ellis's London mate.
Anyway, right, 2 games this week.
None from Sis that finishes off there. None. Go ahead, wee man, or anything.
What do we got?
Thanks very much for turning up.
I think I'll have to put a couple more on there. The 2 games this weekend: Fife away, Belfast Giants, and Fife versus Belfast Giants away. Saturday 7:15 p.m. at Fife Ice Arena, Fife Irish TV, and Glasgow against Belfast at Braehead Ice Arena 4 p.m. on Sunday. No webcast. Keep an eye out at AVFTB or the normal sort of locations, and they're at. Hopefully, I'll get the game. One of the games myself, still in negotiations, but we'll see how we get on there. Thanks to you 2 gentlemen as always. Good to see you. Big thanks to the Mark Cooper, to Jeff Baum and Adam Keefe. Thanks to Giants TV and Devils TV for the footage. You can get us at AVFTB on Twitter, kingdomofthegiants.com on the website. You get us on Facebook and all the other sort of bits. Go on, Sis. Hands up.
Brilliant article by Jacko.
Yes, we did. Yeah, Jacko did an article about Kyle Haas. He actually did it a while ago. We put it up on Sunday. You get that in Kingdom of the Giants. If anybody wants to put an article towards us, just send us a tweet at AVFTB. And, if you've got something you want to say, something you want to write, just by all means, send it to us and we'll have it on kingdomofthegiants.com.
Now, put the next one through the spell checker, like. I'm saying.
Unfortunately, that spell checker was me.
Anyway, who was the one you posted out somebody earlier on, or maybe yesterday, about if you want to have a come on?
That Steelers fella. That Steelers saying Steelers 1991. He's saying that Belfast Giants fan base is completely toxic or something. Something like that. Something.
The Sheffield Steelers top 10 of 8.
They're always at us. They need to focus on their own organisation. Stop worrying about everybody else's.
It says, Hitchy sent me a screenshot of this. Is this the fella who's resigned from supporting his own club?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, yeah. Apparently he's not happy, so apparently he's resigned, and he's now just a fan of the sport.
I will never be that person.
No. No, I don't get it myself. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Seems like a bit of a knob, to be honest, but anyway.
Yeah, let's wrap it up there. Wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey, and we'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.